Hey everyone, welcome back. So I know a lot of you out there are looking into SUI coin.
Definitely seeing a lot of buzz around it.
Yeah. So we're going to do a deep dive into some predictions, see where people think its value might go. We've got an excerpt here. And well, it's got some pretty interesting projections for SUI's future.
Yeah, you got to be careful with crypto, though, right? I mean, it's a wild world out there.
For sure. Always good to be cautious.
Absolutely. It can be a roller coaster ride. Thrilling for sure, but it can take you for a spin if you're not careful.
Right. So the source says that SUI, it's currently trading around $4.82.
Okay.
And it seems like it's holding pretty steady. That's a good sign. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a good sign. Steady progress in the crypto world. It's kind of like finding an oasis in the desert. You see these coins, some of them are just boom, skyrocketing overnight. Others are like crashing down just as fast. But SUI, it's been on this relatively stable path, and that usually suggests growing confidence, from investors.
That makes sense. Yeah. So let's talk about these predictions. This source lays out some pretty optimistic scenarios, I gotta say. By 2025, some analysts are saying that SUI could hit like anywhere between $17 and $20.
Wow.
That's a pretty significant jump.
It is. It is. But it's important to remember that these predictions, they're based on a whole bunch of different factors.
Right.
You've got, market trends, you've got adoption rates, and then just overall sentiment about the crypto market in general, right?
Yeah.
So think of them more as educated guesses than like set in stone guarantees.
Okay, right, of course, yeah. But things get even more interesting when we look further down the
Oh,
road.
yeah.
Like by 2026, some forecasts are putting SUI at 27 to 32 dollar mark,
Hmm.
potentially even pushing past the $35 mark.
Ah, yes, the $35 resistance level. It's kind of like imagine there's this wall, right, at $35. And a lot of people, they're watching to see if SUI can break through it.
Oh, okay.
If it does, that's like a signal to the whole market, that the price is ready to climb even higher. We've seen this happen with other coins too. They break through a key resistance level, and suddenly you get this huge wave of new investors.
Wow. Okay, so it's kind of like a psychological barrier for the market.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. Then for 2027, there's a prediction of about $21.50. It's interesting how there's such a range in these predictions.
Yeah, and that's because you've got different analysts using different methods to try and come up with these numbers. Some of them, they focus on technical analysis,
Hmm.
looking at historical price charts and patterns.
Mm.
Others, they might be looking at what we call the fundamentals, like how strong is the team behind SUI? What's the technology like? What real-world problems are they trying to solve?
Okay, that makes sense. So let's fast forward all the way to 2030.
Okay.
The source mentions a possible price of $14.40, and get this, they say that would be a tenfold increase from its Fibonacci level of 0.886 cents.
Interesting.
I got to admit that went completely over my head.
Oh, yeah.
What are these Fibonacci levels and why are they important for SUI?
Well, think of Fibonacci levels as like a tool, right? It's something that some traders use.
Yeah.
Try to like anticipate where a price might go. Imagine SUI's price has been bouncing between, say, $5 and $10. A Fibonacci level might suggest that maybe $7.86 that could act as a support, meaning that the price it's more likely to bounce back up from there if it dips down. It's
Hmm.
based on this mathematical sequence. Is pretty cool stuff.
Okay, so kind of like potential roadblocks or launching pads,
Yeah.
for the price
Right.
based on some math wizardry.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's actually pretty neat. But isn't relying on these mathematical patterns a bit like, trying to predict the lottery?
Mm-hmm.
How reliable can they really be, especially in such a volatile market like crypto?
You got a point there. They're just one piece of the puzzle, right? You can't just base everything on that.
Right.
You got to look at the bigger picture. Like, is SUI gaining traction? Is it being used in the real world? Is the development team, are they, delivering on their promises? Are there any regulatory changes coming up? All of these things, they can have a huge impact on the price.
That's a good reminder. And the source does stress, that cryptocurrency, it's inherently unpredictable. We should always do our own research before investing anything.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fun to look at these predictions, get excited, but never invest more than you can afford to lose. That's like rule number one in the crypto world.
For sure. Good advice. So let's recap. We've looked at some pretty optimistic price predictions for SUI, ranging from like around $17 to $35 in the next few years, and even potentially reaching $14.40 by 2030.
Yeah.
But we also learned that the crypto market is, well, unpredictable. And these predictions are just that, they're predictions.
Right. And here's a final thought for you. Don't just, chase the price. You got to look beyond the hype. Really delve into what's behind SUI, the team, the technology, the problems they're trying to solve. Are they building something truly innovative, something useful? Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to determine its long-term success.
Great advice to end on. And remember, this is just a starting point. There's a whole world of information out there about SUI. Keep digging, keep exploring. We'll see you on our next deep dive.